It is time once again for the weekly closes on our favorite Bitcoin miners. I'm going to go a bit quickly here on this one this week because honestly, we haven't really seen a whole lot of development. It's been mostly just sideways chop. So we'll look at it. We'll see if anything has changed on any of these real quick. And if not, then we're just going to basically hold the exact same opinions that we held last week. So let's go ahead and take a look starting with CleanSpark. CleanSpark hanging out at some pretty significant lows that we haven't seen since 2024, which I know is only a little over a year ago, but it's pretty bad to see it this low when Bitcoin is much higher than it was a year ago. So keep that in mind. This sucks. So let's take a look here. The BX trender is showing deeper red again this week. We got a bit of an inverted hammer coming in. That's that's not like a terrible sign, but it's not great if we don't get any momentum coming through after that hammer. The RSI is down at 38 for the weekly. The stochastics are in the toilet all the way down there. Red volume coming in high above average this week. So we got above average selling volume this week. The bulls tried it early in the week. Look, it pushed it up, and then that wick is there because they pushed it right back down. Okay, so right now we're looking at my chart. I've got the 5 EMA, the 13, the 50, and the 200, and then the blue lines are Bollinger Bands, okay? Or Bollinger, whatever, however you say it. We're coming right up on this white trend line down here. That is the trend line from 2023. We go beneath that. CleanSpark is going to have a really, really bad time. We got tons of resistance all the way up to $18. Until we're up above that, we've got to fight our way all the way up to $18. Once we're above $18, then we basically have some fresh air to breathe up there. But we've got to fight through all the people that are underwater all the way up to $18 before CleanSpark really has a chance to do very much at all. So this sucks. The CleanSpark warrants came down dramatically this week. We got hit really hard on those things. They came down under the 786 line here. You'll see it in a second when this thing loads. Come on, load. All right, there we go. We closed beneath the 786 line down here, which is at 36 cents. We're currently at 34 cents. This is kind of bad. Okay, this is kind of bad. So if it keeps closing down here and can't get back up, like if we don't see this thing start reversing, like CleanSpark and everything else reversing in like the next week and a half or so, things are going to get really bad. Okay, they're just going to get really bad, and there's nothing we can do about that. That's one of the reasons I've been parking a lot of my money in companies that actually make money versus anything related to crypto right now, because it seems like only companies that have like actual balance sheets and then like cash flow are making any getting any inflows of investment right now. So that is kind of what we are looking at this time. So that sucks. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion advice that hold any asset whatsoever. You must make your own decisions. You must come up with your own risk profiles and decide what you're willing to invest in and what you're willing to lose when you do, or what you want to gain. All right, let's take a look at Mara. Sorry, not Iren, Mara. Mara weekly is looking rough. It's also rough. It's just closing on the lows. We touched the same low as before back here on February 24th. If we come up from that, that's all right. But if we go any lower than that, right? If we go any lower than that, then we are unlocked into this area back here, which is between $11 and $7 on Mara, which is kind of baffling for me to think about, considering that's the same price Mara was when Bitcoin was less than half its current value. So like that's really bad, honestly. So RSI is down to 38. Stochastics are terrible. The BX trender is getting redder than it was before. Again, Mara's got to get above $20. If Mara doesn't get above $20, well, then Mara's just going to be stuck in the toilet. It could currently, even if it pops up right now to $17, like it still needs to get above $20 before it is actually getting some bullishness out of this thing. Okay, we are whipsawing all over the place. Let's take a look at Iren. Iren's getting some tweezers down there on the bottom. I don't mind that, but let's see, the RSI is at 40, so it's doing a little bit better than its peers. It made a higher low this week on the candle. That's not so bad, but it still closed beneath the like if you look, the candle body is stacked kind of beneath the previous week candle body. We're getting these really nasty little dojis coming in here for the last 2 weeks. We really want to see Iren lift up off above 746. When it does that, we can expect it to try to move up back up towards the $10 range, and from there we'll probably start running into some significant resistance as we chew through all this price action here from December 16th to February it's February 10th. And then once we're above 1369 again, then it's got some room to run. But we're going to have to fight from 10 to 1369. And then the BX trender is worse than it was last week. It's redder. The stochastics are looking bad. That big, ugly, purple, slow one scooping up on the bottom feeding there, scooping that out at the bottom versus the top. Don't like that. RSI at 40.9. The volume is lower than it was, and it's been getting lower, so that's good. So you can see that these volume bars, if you see the cursor, they're coming down more versus. See how about Mara? Versus Mara, where it's getting higher, or Clean Spark, where it's the highest it's been in a while, and red. So keep your eyes on that. Let's go look at Riot real quick. Riot similar to Iren, except they actually got a green bar. So they got some green volume. They closed at the same exact level they closed at last week. So Riot has not moved at all. RSI is looking bad. Stochastics are looking bad. BX trender is looking bad. Riot, I mean, it's got to get up. Riot's got to get up above like 8.11, and then it's got room up to about $10, and then we start slamming into the moving averages that are gonna either hold it underwater or it's going to somehow blast through those. Let's take a look at Btdr now. Btdr still in that like falling wedge pattern. Still in this like falling wedge pattern that I've drawn. It's sort of going sideways now. We did get a red candle. The volume is getting weaker as we get lower, so that's a good sign. That is a really good sign that there could be some kind of turnaround. You can see in the stochastic here, it is yellow there on the slow, so that is good, but we really need to see it get back above the 20 line there, get out of oversold territory on the stochastics. They are sized at 38. That's bear town. The BX trender is also in bear town, so we've got to see this thing give us one big green candle that honestly takes us up above like 273 again, and then Btdr's got room up to the 50 at 318, and then the 200 at 363, and then once we're above that, then we've got room all the way back up to about 573. Before that, not so much. On the downside, $2. We're watching $2 on the downside for that one. Let's take a look at Bitfarms. Bitfarms momentarily crossed beneath the $1 mark there for a little while. That was really kind of, I mean, I knew it was going to happen, but man, you hate seeing it. Anyways, currently we're at 101. We're below my line of 102 there that I had, where I was thinking that would be some nice support. We hit 99 cents. Yeah, if this goes any lower, like this is looking weaker than its peers. Now the volume has been getting weaker and weaker to the downside since November 18th. You can see the volume sloping down as price just drops dramatically. So that's a good sign in terms of this being more of a manipulation versus like the sell-off we all think it is, even though, or that it looks like. So that's, there's some glimmer of hope there, but I mean, still, it's still getting pretty bad. But okay, so this is where we come in with some good news. Okay, so to the downside, we're at 99 cents. So your risk ultimately is $1 per share. Okay, that is your ultimate total risk. What's your upside potential though? So upside potential, honestly, 171 we're going to hit probably within a day. When it comes back, 171 will probably be hit in a day. So you're looking at like a 71 cent pop in like a day or two. Because like there's really nothing, like not a ton of resistance between where our current price is and 171. If it gets good news, if investors want to return to this thing, they may not. This thing could just like roll over and be done. Okay. Then if we're looking at, if we are looking at the moving averages, the 200-week moving average is up at $2.01. That's a $1 move up that we've hit several times before. There's no reason why we wouldn't do it again if things turn around. And if it can get above the 200-week moving average, well, then Bitfarms is looking at, if it can break 275, then it's got the next high at 329 and the next high after that at 391. If it can take that out, if we can get some good sentiment and take that out, I wouldn't be surprised to see it come back up to like the $4 to $5 range. So ultimately, upside, yeah, you could see like a 400 to 500% run on this thing if Bitcoin cooperates, if investors want to return to Bitfarms, if their internal drama has been resolved. If that is not the case, well, then you're not going to see this thing run. But always remember that basically you're at a point now where your risk is it going to zero, which right now is a little over $1. It's $1.01 per share. So if that's 100 shares, that's, you're risking $100 to maybe make $400. It's not a terrible risk to reward scenario, but always remember this thing has been doing very badly for a very long time, and it may or may not ever get that type of investment again. So keep that in mind. Know your risk. Know what you're willing to lose. Don't invest any more than you're willing to lose, because you could lose it all. Okay, let's take a look at Soluna, the hero or zero play. I took that same kind of mentality that I just explained about Bitfarms with this one back when it was at like 281. I bought like 100 shares of this thing just to see what they would do, and they've just been bleeding off forever. Right now, I don't really see anything happening, and like even if we get a good pop, it's going to come to like 284 at most before hitting some significant resistance. And then if it can cross above the 50-week moving average at 388, well, then we're talking. Then we might come up to $7. Then we might, see if we get euphoria, this thing could hit double digits. But if not, then we won't. Okay, then we just won't. The BX Trender is finally printing something better on this one, so that's not so bad. Let's take a look at Cifr. How's Cifr doing? Cifr is, everything looks bad. The RSI is at 35.32. The stochastics are all pointing straight down. The BX Trender is getting deeper in the red. We're coming up on the same low as last week on a doji that's lopsided to the bottom. Now, the only thing I like about this chart right now, if we come here, we see this double top. We completed that pattern on that double top, so that is done. That pattern's not going to hurt us anymore. We need to see a new pattern form, a bearish pattern to form for it to go lower, or we need to see a bottoming, much like what we saw back over here in August, where we got like 3 candles kind of compressing into each other and then one big candle pop. Once we get that one big candle pop, that is where I'd be looking at Cifr to go, from, in this case, our big one candle pop would take us up to about 373, and then I'd be looking for it to move into this double top here, maybe go as high as 540 or, 650 before hitting some crazy resistance that's going to send it back down potentially. We'll see. Let's take a look at Corz. Corz has been on my radar now for a little while. We hit the bottom Bollinger Band. The stochastics down here, the fast one's looking like it's ready to turn back to yellow. The RSI is kind of bad though. The BX Trender is also looking bad. I'd need to see a week or two of that turning into light red on the BX Trender down here before I'd be interested. But we came below support. That support is now resistance. So 914 is now resistance. We need to get above 914, and then we're going to fight our way chewing through this section here. Let me draw it. We're going to fight our way chewing through this section here on the left that I've just circled. All the way up to about 1097. So between 914 and about $11, we're going to chew through some resistance there. And once we're above that, it's kind of like open skies here, because none of this formation, like going up and down, none of that is really strong resistance. Like there is probably some natural resistance, like let's say like right here between 13.23 and like $15, but it's not nearly as much resistance as what we saw back here in July and August of last year. So I wouldn't be too concerned once we're above $11 on this thing, which seems like it's high from where it currently is, but I'd rather be late to the party and right than early and wrong. Okay, so anyways, that's what we're looking at here for Corz. Still watching, still waiting. Wulf, how's Wulf doing? We're still waiting for some stuff on Wulf as well. Wulf also looking like it came to a bottom here. These are some bottom looking candles. I would like to see a closure above that 5 EMA there, that white line at 370 or 330? 370 at 370. Once we get that, then we can move up to like maybe the 200 week at 515, and that's where we find out if this thing's got legs or not. But I mean, this is just a dramatic sell-off down. We got to see it come up, test the top of it. We haven't tested the top of this descending channel in weeks. It looks like we got stuck in the bottom half of that channel, creating a new sub-channel inside of that channel, just stuck beneath it. So once we get above that midline, then we've got room up to the top of that thing, which is currently at the 50-week moving average. Hopefully we can break out of this descending channel, hit that 200-week moving average, flip it into support, and then carry on higher. We'll see. Hut. Also looking bad. It's almost in complete oversold. RSI there at 31.21, just a little bit lower when we're in oversold RSI on Hut. Hut got real dramatic here. Man, we tried to take out these lows from December 2023, right? Or 2022. December. Yeah, we tried to go for those lows in December 2022. Hut is, wow. It can't, or Hive, sorry. This is Hive, not Hut. Let me go back to Hut. We'll go back to Hive in a second. Hut, I was wrong there. Disregard what I just said. Hut. Ooh, we got a nice hammer candle and a green one to follow through. All right, I like that. I kind of like that on Hut. Came down to $11.08 for a low. I'd like to see it get above this where it currently is right now. I'd like to see it close above like $13. And then it can go to the 200-week moving average at 14.20. Yeah, I need to see this get above the 200-week moving average right now. I need to see it get above it and hold it for a week, and then I'd be looking at it to re-enter this this channel right here, where it may go to the top of that channel and reject from there, which currently would be about $23, about $23 on the high end if it were to run. Of course, all of this hinges on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's not running, these things aren't running. And you can see the Bollinger Bands are starting to roll out again, so that's not necessarily a good sign. Okay, Hive, sorry. I'm all over the place now. I screwed up one time, now I'm all over. Okay, Hive is running for some 2022 lows. That's not good. I don't like what I'm seeing on Hive right now. I'd really want to see a breakage of this trend line here. Let me draw it. I really want to see this thing basically get above the 13-week EMA there. And then we're talking anything under that. I'm not interested at all in this thing. All these numbers look terrible. They all look terrible on Hive right now. So, but if it breaks out, if it breaks out, it's going to come running up to about 330. It can break 330. It'll run up to about 442. It can break 442. Then it can come up to this yellow line, which is currently around $5. Okay. To the downside, I have no idea. Honestly, this thing. Okay, so if we go much lower here on the downside, we're coming into 2020 types of support, which go all the way down to, they start around like 90 cents and goes all the way down to about 30 cents. So yeah, I'm not touching this thing quite yet. This thing is still in a tailspin all the way to the ground. Let's take a look at CAN. How's CAN doing? CAN is same sort of thing. I drew this trend line here, and it's just gotten steeper to the downside, honestly. So that is actually really bad. So this one just got steeper to the downside. We came to critical support in this thing. We're at 95 cents here. So I'm going to circle this right here between like $1, like 20, and all the way down to 72 cents. All that right there. That's the playground we're in now for CAN. CAN is going to stay down here until it gets back above that blue, that top of this this resistance here, which currently is going to be. Let's see. We've got to get above. Honestly, we've got to close. I wouldn't feel comfortable till we're above this big red candle back here. So I'd say $1.20. Until we're above $1.20, I have no interest in CAN at all. And even then, at 160 looms the 50-week moving average, and that scares me. If we can conquer the 50-week moving average, though, we could very likely come up to the 200-week moving average, which is currently at $3.20. So that's cool. But right now, it's looking like it's just a straight down shot into the ground. So that's not great. RSI is terrible. Stochastics is terrible. BX Trender is terrible. It's all looking pretty bad. Let's take a look at Btdr. Btdr broke out of its falling wedge there that I had drawn and is making a different one down here. Let's kind of just do that. It's gotten steeper. Don't like that. That's not good. You don't want to see that. Stochastics look bad. BX Trender looks bad. It's getting deeper red. Stochastics are pointing straight down. RSI is at 40. So with Btdr, all right. Btdr, we're looking at this over here. Let me just get in here. Okay, Btdr, I'm going to circle it. We're looking right here between about $9 and all the way down to about $5.30. That is the area that we are entering here. If we go any lower, we're going to get into that support zone. In that support zone, we could fall probably as low as about 644 before we get super, super scared. It's going to go way, way lower. Why 644, you ask? Well, look at these three candles right here. Look at these three candles right here. Now I'm going to circle three candles alone. Okay, look at these. Well, you could say four, but look at this little grouping of candles right here. And they came to a nice stop at about 644. Oh, that's 652, sorry. Now that I'm zoomed in more, I can actually do a little closer. Yeah, about 652. And it also coincides with the bottoms of some candles over here. Okay. Real nice little level that it's hit several times before. So about 652, 644, somewhere in there It gets down there. It can get that low without me thinking, oh, it's going to go to 0. Beneath that, though, I'm going to start getting real scared. But I really, really, really don't want to see it go any lower than it already has at 945. Any lower than that, then we come all the way down into 860 before we even take a breather on this thing. And once it breaks up above the 50-week moving average, then we're talking about it moving back up. But until then, yeah, it's just looking like downside right now. Okay, so let's talk about something with some hope. MicroStrategy showing some hope now. All right, so the stochastics are pointing up now. We got orange. We got yellow. Sorry, orange. We got yellow. The slow one has started to curl up. The RSI is above 50 on the weekly. We got 2 weeks of green candles, and we've got the BX trender with 2 weeks of lighter red. That is all really good. Okay. We came up. We hit the 50-week moving average. We bounced off of it. Basically, we close above 308. We've got room all the way up to 350. Okay, we get above 350, we've got room all the way up to $400. We get above $400, we got room all the way up to about 443. We get above 443, guess what? All-time highs coming back in. Okay, so watch MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy is getting interesting. I did get burned pretty good on MicroStrategy because I was in MSTX, and yeah, man, it was just it's still pretty bad looking all the way down to $18, and I mean, it's barely come back up to like $10 from that fall there when I was buying it in like the 60s and 70s and 80s a couple of months ago. Will it get back there? Maybe it might get back there, but remember, it's got a big dip in here because part of this big dip was a distribution of like 15-16%. So it's always going to be like 15% lower than unless it really takes off. It's going to be always about 15% lower than what you bought if you bought it before that distribution. For now. Anyways, we'll see. It's going to take a pretty big move for it to do that. So that's that one sucks right now. So I'm watching Mstr right now as a leader. Mstr is a leader. It's got, let's see, this trend line right here, this white trend line. It breaks this trend line. It's going to come up to this one, which again is about that 350 level, and that's where I'll start to reassess MicroStrategy. So I might be looking at taking maybe some options positions on that potentially. And of course, nothing I say is financial advice and not a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever. Let's take a look at coin real quick, as well as our very final look here. Coin, the BX trender looks bad, the stochastics look bad, the RSI looks bad. So coin is not following in the footsteps of MicroStrategy, but we did get a green candle. We got some volume that came in very low, but it is green, and it's mostly green. As you can see here, it's mostly body. We get one more week of good looking moves on coin. We get some action in the altcoins, especially if we get any big moves up in any of the cryptos, and it seems as though that there is more and more active addresses coming up on Bitcoin and some of our other favorite cryptos. Then coin will probably take off. But coin can hit about 219 before we hit some resistance, which you can see here on the left of the screen there, where we've got like that wavy kind of pattern going on back here in April up until August. Okay, we come and we hit that. Then we got the 50-week moving average at 226.60, and then once we conquer 226.60, we've got to chew through all the way up to about 270 before we've got any clean air on coin, but it'll be a slow grind up basically, which isn't necessarily bad. It just gets boring. Anyways, that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Check out the Trade Cave store, link in the description, as well as the channel bio, and have a profitable day.